Ah, there you are, my dear friend. I was wondering if you might find your way here before the fire curled into embers. You've arrived at just the right time. The hush has settled, and the world has wrapped itself in its softest cloak. Come, sit beside me, just here. Yes, right on the moss-covered root. It's soft, isn't it? Cushioned with age, as though the earth itself prepared a seat just for us. The pine branches above bend low, forming a gentle canopy, and the fire doesn't roar. It hums, low and steady, like a lullaby in flame. Lean back if you'd like. There's a stone behind us. It's smooth and broad, and it holds the warmth of the day in its skin. I've rested here more times than I can count, always in this same hollow, always with the same sky overhead. But tonight feels different, softer somehow. The stars seem quieter, or maybe we've just slowed down enough to finally listen. Breathe with me now. In, slowly, and out. There, that's better. Do you feel it too? That hush in the air. Not silence, no. Not emptiness, but a kind of fullness. The way still water holds the shape of the moon without effort. The way wind drapes itself around your shoulders like a cloak. It's the kind of quiet that lets your thoughts rest. No need to reach for anything. No need to fix or solve or go anywhere at all. You've done enough for one day. More than enough, I suspect. Now is for resting. The pine needles underfoot make a soft bed. When I settled down earlier, they whispered with each step of my boots. They always do that, like the forest greeting me in its own secret tongue. You hear it, don't you? That gentle crunch beneath the fire's breath, like parchment turning in the dark. It's a sound that doesn't ask for attention, but offers comfort if you listen. There's a breeze coming down off the northern ridge. Not sharp, just cool enough to kiss the cheeks and remind the skin it's alive. It carries with it the scent of wood smoke, mingled with crushed pine, and a hint of something older, something green and ancient. I've never found a name for it, but it's always here. On nights like this, the fire's glow isn't strong. I built it low on purpose. Bright flames are for bustling camps and songs. But here, just the two of us, we don't need light that dances, only light that listens. See how it flickers gently against the stone, how it lays soft shadows on the moss. I find such comfort in watching it. You can lose time in those flames if you let your eyes go soft, like they're remembering something your heart hasn't put to words yet. That's what tonight is for remembering, or maybe forgetting. Whichever your spirit needs more. There's tea if you'd like some. Just a small pot, steeping in the coals. It's made from dried leaves I gathered at the edge of the glen, lemon balm, and chamomile. Mostly, I drink it often when I rest here. It tastes of gentle things, like rain caught in a wooden bowl. There's something about sharing a quiet cup in the woods that feels older than language, older than war or worry, as if the forest itself brewed it. But even if you don't want any, just being here with you is enough. We don't have to speak much tonight. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Let your body grow heavier. Let your thoughts slip past the edges of the firelight. I'll stay awake a little longer, just to tend the flame and watch the stars. You rest. You're safe here. You always are, with me. Let the weight of the day melt into the earth. Let the cool moss carry it, and the wind scatter it across the trees. Let it be gone. Let there be only this moment, this fire, this peace. And when you're ready to drift, my friend, I'll still be here beside you, quiet as the stone, warm as the coals, and steady, always steady. Now, hush, close your eyes if you wish. The night will hold you, and I'll hold the night. Yes, you can feel it now, can't you? This place, it cradles you the moment you arrive. Like the valley itself has been waiting, quiet and patient, just to offer you this rest, just to hold you without asking anything in return. Look around, my dear friend. Take your time. There's no need to rush. The world here does not move fast. It never has. It simply breathes. We're in a low fold of the land, surrounded by tall pines whose branches kiss each other above us. They sway now and then, but only just, as if they're shifting in their sleep. The trunks rise so straight and tall, it's as though they've stood watch here since the world was young. Perhaps they have. Some of them I visited for many years, and I swear they remember me. The moss that hugs their roots certainly does. It grows thicker every season, soft as old wool beneath our boots and knees. A fine mist threads its way through the boughs tonight, curling like silk over every root and hollow. It doesn't cling, not heavily, just enough to catch the firelight in quiet glimmers, like breath made visible. It kisses your skin, cool and fresh, and smells faintly of pine resin and the sweetness of wet grass. If you close your eyes and draw in a slow breath, you'll taste it too. Earthy, clean, the kind of scent you only find far from roads, far from stone walls and chimneys, the scent of a place that has never hurried, never raised its voice. And just there beyond the trees, past that gentle slope, lies the lake, wide and still and silver under the moon. Ah, the lake, she's the heart of this valley, a mirror for sky and memory alike. See how smooth the surface is tonight. You'd think time itself had paused for a moment, just long enough to let her reflect it all without a single ripple. The moon hangs low above her, full and soft, casting her light like a shawl of milk and silver over the water. The stars, too, each one shimmering faintly, like seeds of light dropped gently onto velvet, and drifting there quietly, gently are the lanterns. Dozens of them, maybe more. Floating paper shells, each one cupping a tiny flicker of flame. Their glow doesn't cut the darkness, it mingles with it, weaving gold into indigo. Some hover near the shore, their light gently brushing the reeds. Others wander farther out, trailing slow reflections behind them, long and wavering like fireflies caught in a dream. I've always thought of them as memories made visible, not loud ones, not the kind that demand to be told, but the quiet sort, the kind that sit behind the heart, warm and worn and wordless. That one there. See it? With the red thread tying the corners. I remember lighting it one year for a horse I once rode. Long ago, she carried me through 1,000 miles of wilderness, then laid down one morning beneath an apple tree and didn't rise again. I lit a lantern for her that night and let it drift. No one ever taught me to do it. No one had to. The valley seems to whisper such things to you if you sit long enough. Can you hear it now? That sound? Not the fire, nor the frogs. It's fainter than that. Just beneath the wind, the water is speaking to the shore. Tiny laps and ripples, like a lullaby hummed under breath. Every few moments a lantern touches another, and they make a sound like paper brushing silk. No clatter, no flame lost, just a passing hello, like friends parting ways without needing to speak. You might hear a frog now and then. They live in the reeds and come out to sing under the moon. One has taken up residence near that log over there. I hear him almost every night. He sounds proud of his voice. I rather like him. And the crickets. Ah yes, the crickets. Their chorus is soft tonight. No frantic chirping, no sharp pitch. Just a long, slow weaving of notes, like thread pulled through linen. They fill the air without ever crowding it. The sort of music you feel in your ribs more than your ears. The ground here is thick with old pine needles, layered over years. They muffle every footstep, make the earth feel like it's been padded just for you. I imagine if the stars were to walk the forest floor, they'd do so here, barefoot, silent, their light brushing against these trees with reverence. There are stones, too, smooth ones, scattered like memories along the shore. Some are flat, some are round. Many are warm still from the day, holding on to the sun's farewell kiss. I often rest my back against one, the way I am now. It's firm but forgiving, like a friend who doesn't speak unless you need them to. Even the air here has slowed. Listen, not a bird, not a cart, not a bell, just the hush between each breath. The hush that belongs to places forgotten by maps but remembered by the heart. And when you lift your gaze, if you choose to, you'll see the sky stretched above us, vast and velvet dark. The stars aren't sharp tonight. No, they've softened, diffused by the mist. They glow like candlelight seen through linen. Some twinkle, others simply exist. I find comfort in the way they don't ask anything of us. Just being there is enough. A reminder, perhaps, that we're part of something older and larger and kinder than we know. This is the world as it was, and as it still can be, when all the noise has fallen away. No danger here, no demand, just breath and warmth and time. So much time. You may rest your hand on the earth if you like. Feel how cool and steady it is. That's the heartbeat of the valley, I think. Slow and generous. It welcomes us without ceremony. And you, my dear friend, you are welcome here. You belong here. Tonight, the world is not a place of edges and weight. It is a lake, a hush, a lantern, and we are part of its stillness. Let me shift a little. There. The stone behind me is round at the edge now, smoothed over the years by seasons, by my own back, resting against it, and by the moss that grows thicker every spring. It's a good stone, loyal, the kind that never asks questions, never gives answers either, just holds you. My old cloak catches a bit of the damp when I lean back, but I don't mind. It's been with me a long while. The hem is worn thin, and the fabric no longer holds its dye. But it still smells of wood smoke and lavender oil, and it still wraps around me like a second skin. That's what matters. Truly. I suppose I should tell you a little more about me, since we're here. Since the fire is warm and there's nowhere else we need to be. I wasn't always this slow, you know. These hands now marked by time and softened by use, once held reins tight and lifted pack satchels with ease. These legs, well, they've walked from ridge to river, from seacoast to orchard, and back again, more times than I could count. But that was a long time ago. Back when I still wore the weight of iron on my shoulders and thought it meant something. Not anymore. I set the armor aside many winters ago. Carefully, mind you, not in anger, not in sorrow, just gently, the way you'd lay down a burden you'd carried for long enough. The kind of letting go that comes not from defeat, but from understanding. And now I wear simple things, tunics dyed in faded forest green and dusty brown, threadbare but comfortable, nothing tight, nothing sharp. I like clothes that move with the wind, not against it. I like to feel the grass beneath me when I sit. I like to carry no more than I need. That's the truth of it, friend. These days, I travel light, mostly from grove to grove, from quiet place to quieter one. I don't seek out company often, though I treasure it when it arrives. Like tonight, your presence is a balm, a comfort, like a hand placed gently on the shoulder. You might ask then what it is I do, and the answer might sound like very little to someone younger. I rest. I listen. I tend small fires and steep teas from herbs I've learned to find by scent. I write things in the dirt with sticks and forget them an hour later. Sometimes I hum to myself. Sometimes I hum to the trees. And every year when the nights grow longest and the lanterns are ready, I come here, to this valley, to this lake. I've done it for, well, more years than I care to count. There's a peace here I haven't found anywhere else. Not in cities, not in temples, not even in the arms of another, only here. I light one lantern each visit. Just one, each time for someone or something that once lived in my heart. Sometimes a friend, sometimes a season. Once even. For a dog I shared the road with for half a decade. His name was Thorn. He was grumpy and soft-hearted, and never once let me sleep alone in the woods. That lantern, it drifted farther than any I'd lit before. I still watch for it, just in case it circles back. But this year, I am not alone. You're here. And that changes the shape of the evening, doesn't it? Not in a way that disrupts. No, in a way that deepens. Makes the silence even more precious. Somehow, like a harmony added to a familiar melody. You know, when I was younger, I thought purpose had to be something loud, something clear and noble and carved into stone. But now I think maybe purpose is just being present, being kind, knowing when to speak and when to sit quietly beside someone until their breath slows and their shoulders drop. I'm not wise. Not really. I've simply made many mistakes and stayed alive long enough to feel grateful for the ones that softened me. There's a sadness in me. That's true. Not the sharp, breaking kind. No, that passed many years ago. What remains is more like a shadow at dusk. Long and quiet, gentle. It doesn't pull at me. It walks beside me. And oddly, I wouldn't part with it. It reminds me that I've loved deeply and lived fully, that I've known endings worth mourning. But tonight, here with you, there's something else. A serenity that doesn't ask for explanation. A hush that says, this moment is enough. You see, I think people imagine old knights with silver beards and faraway stares, still dreaming of banners and battles. But not me. I dream of warm stones and soft moss, of rain tapping gently on canvas, of a friend's laughter shared over poorly cooked stew. I dream of this, right here. It means something, I think, that you're beside me now, not as a squire, or a soldier, or a subject, but simply as a friend. That's a rarer thing than most ever realize. So lean back, if you haven't already. Rest your head, if you wish. The fire will keep us warm, and the lake will keep her vigil. I'll speak if you'd like to hear more, or I'll fall quiet, if silence is what your spirit needs most. Either way, I'm here, not to teach, not to lead, just to share the stillness, and to let you know you're not alone. Not tonight. Not while this fire burns. Not while breath rises and falls in time with the mist. Not while this old night still has stories to tell, or simply the space to listen. So breathe, dear friend. Let the moss take your weight. Let the night tuck itself around your shoulders. You are safe. You are welcome. And you are exactly where you're meant to be. Do you see that, my friend? Just there by my knee, beneath that fold of wool and shadow, there's a small bundle wrapped in linen. I brought it with me from the last village I passed through, though it isn't from there. Not really. It's older than that, or perhaps it only feels old because of the hands that touched it before mine. Here, let me open it slowly. No need to rush. The firelight is steady, and your eyes are soft already. This is the lantern I'll be lighting tonight, or rather, it's the pieces of one tenderly prepared, waiting for the moment to be joined together. I've made so many of these over the years, each one a little different, but the rhythm of it never changes. It's a kind of ritual, I suppose, not the sort with temples and chants and heavy incense. No, this is quieter. This is a ritual made of patience, breath, and intention. The reeds, see them here? They were soaked in warm river water for 2 days, bound with river stones, to keep them submerged. They come from a low marsh, not far from the edge of this valley, where dragonflies trace lazy circles over still water. I gathered them myself, as I always do. It's important it must be your hands that do the gathering, so the lantern carries your memory, your warmth. Once softened, I trimmed them and left them to dry in bundles beside the hearth. They take on a lovely scent when they dry, something between hay and the sun-warmed hull of a rowboat. If you hold them close, they creak faintly, as though remembering the shape of wind. These will form the frame. 4 slender reeds tied together into a square, with one more running across the middle like the spine of a leaf. I like to run my fingers along each one before tying. Not for any reason, really, just to say thank you, I think. The paper. Now this is my favorite part. Thin rice paper, pressed between parchment leaves for weeks until it lies flat and still as moonlight. I chose the color carefully this year. Not white. Not tonight. This one is a soft, washed lavender, the color of twilight just after the sun has dropped, but before the stars come in earnest. The kind of color you only see when you're quiet enough to notice. It will flutter a little when the lantern is lit, like breath, or a slow heartbeat. I'll fold it around the reed frame gently, using thread the color of ash. Each knot matters, not because anyone will see them, but because I will, and because the one I light this lantern for would have cared about small things like that. You see, tonight's lantern is for someone I once traveled with, long ago. Not a fellow knight, not a squire, not a comrade in arms, just a person, a soul. We shared bread, stories, and silence. We met on a rainy night at the edge of a forgotten orchard. They were soaked through trying to coax fire from damp wood, and I offered a bit of my ember to help them start theirs. We sat apart at first, then, eventually, side by side. No promises, no plans, just warm. For a time we walked the same road. They taught me how to bind cedar bark for waterproof bundles. I showed them how to whistle with 2 fingers and a curled tongue. There was laughter and long pauses. We never needed many words. Some people, you just recognize not with your eyes but with something slower, something deeper. They left one morning before the frost had melted. Left a note. Just 3 words. You gave peace. And that was all. I never saw them again. But every year since, I light a lantern I don't know if it reaches them, wherever they may be or whatever they may be now, but I send it anyway. I like to think they'd do the same for me. So now, here I sit, frame in hand, fingers working the thread through each corner, folding the lavender paper over the edges, like wrapping a child's keepsake. The firelight helps me see the way the fibers shimmer ever so slightly. I move slowly, deliberately. This is not a craft for hurry. In the center, on the beam of the frame, I carve a name. No, not the name they were given, not the one others used, just the one I gave them quietly in my thoughts, when no one else was near. A name only I knew, a name made of kindness and shelter and rain. I carve it slowly, the letters shallow but true. This is the part I always do with my breath held, just for a moment. There, done. Now I place a small beeswax candle in the base, nestled in a circle of river clay to keep it upright. It won't burn long. An hour perhaps. Maybe 2. That's enough. More than enough. A lantern doesn't need to last. It just needs to glow. And when it's ready, I hold it in both palms, and I speak, not aloud but within. A whisper. A message. Not a plea. Not a prayer. Just a thank you. A remembering. A wish for peace wherever their feet now fall. Soon, I'll set it on the lake. But not yet. Not while the paper is still warm from my hands. Not while the fire is still high enough to see your face. But you see, this is the gentle quest I spoke of. Not a journey of miles. Not a task for glory. But a slow, inward turning. A soft offering to the night. Every year I do this. And every year it changes me in small ways. It reminds me that meaning doesn't come from what we hold on to, but from what we let go of with love. And tonight, I share it with you. That's the most sacred part of all, that I'm not alone in the making. That someone else hears the softness in the silence. That you are here, beside me, while this little light prepares to begin its journey. In a moment we'll walk down to the water's edge. We'll place the lantern on the surface and watch it drift. It will join the others, each one a quiet voice in the chorus of memory. And we'll say nothing, because nothing more will be needed. But for now, just sit with me. Watch the fire glow through the lavender paper. Feel the night lean in gentle as a hand on your back. This is the quest. This stillness, this presence, this act of remembering, wrapped in reeds and thread and light. And I'm honored to share it with you. There it goes. Do you see it? Just beyond that gentle ripple, that's the lantern, the one we made together. It's drifting now, quiet as a breath. Let go. The paper catches the moonlight just so, doesn't it? It's like a petal floating across a silver bowl. Soft, certain, unhurried. We won't see where it ends up. That's part of the tradition. It's not for us to know. It's only for us to send it. And watch it begin. I always sit a little longer after I set one free. Something about the silence feels heavier afterward, but not in a sorrowful way, more like the kind of quiet that follows a lullaby, or a long embrace. You understand, don't you? And while it drifts, I find myself remembering other nights like this one. Other times, I sat in this same place, back against this same stone, knees drawn up, hands warmed by this same fire. Each visit different, and yet somehow always the same. Let me tell you about them. Just a few, not grand tales. No, just moments, little memories. like pebbles pressed into soft mud now polished smooth by time. There was one evening, not so long ago, though I suppose even a few seasons can feel distant now, when I noticed a pair of golden eyes watching me from the reeds. A fox, small, curious. He made no sound, just sat there on his haunches, tail curled around his feet, ears turned slightly forward. The firelight flickered against his fur, catching the red of it, the wildness, the warmth. I didn't speak. I only nodded, slowly, gently. And somehow, I think he understood. He stayed for a while, long enough for the lantern to drift halfway across the lake. Then he turned and vanished, as softly as he had come. And I remember thinking, some silences are conversations too. Then there was the night the stars aligned themselves in a way I'd never seen before. I lay back on the moss, hands behind my head, cloak wrapped about my shoulders, and looked up through the gap in the pines. And there they were, stars forming the shape of a crest I'd once worn, long ago, on a shield now buried in some forgotten storehouse. It startled me at first. I thought perhaps I was dreaming, but no. The stars simply chose that shape that night. Not for glory, not for memory, just for me. As if to say, you are still part of this sky, even now, especially now. Another time. A girl came through the trees, no more than 10, maybe 12. Her hands were small, and they trembled slightly as she held her lantern. Her grandmother had passed, she said, and her mother had sent her here, to this lake, to light the lantern the family had made together. She asked me to help her set it afloat. I did. We knelt side by side, and I showed her how to lower it gently, how not to tip the flame. She didn't cry. Not then. She only watched, eyes wide, lips parted, as the lantern floated away. And when it was out of sight, she whispered, "Good night, Nana." Then she turned and walked away, never looking back. Even now, when the wind is just right, I can almost hear her voice again. There's a corner of this valley, just up that ridge, beyond the birch grove, where the ruins of a temple rest. No walls remain, only broken stones and bits of carved art. I used to climb there after lighting the lantern, just to sit and listen. The wind sounds different in that place. It doesn't rush or howl. It moves like water, brushing over the stone in a way that sounds almost like words. I never tried to understand what it was saying. Some things are meant to be felt, not deciphered. But I remember thinking on one still night that the wind there might be the last priest, the last one left to bless the ruin and remind the stars of the prayers once spoken beneath that sky. And then there's the feel of my old mentor's hand, not in the battlefield, not during a lesson. No, I remember it from a quiet dusk, just before I left the keep for the last time. He rested his hand on my shoulder, didn't speak, just stood beside me while we looked out over the field below. There were wildflowers growing along the fence posts, the kind that close their petals at night. And I think that was the moment I understood that strength isn't always shown in motion. Sometimes it's in stillness. Sometimes it's just stay. And my friend. There was another voice I recall often. A friend from long ago. We'd rest beneath a willow tree and speak softly about nothing in particular. Their voice was quiet, but never uncertain, like the sound of wool being folded, or a spoon stirring tea. I can't remember their face now. Isn't that strange? But their voice, that stays. It comes to me on evenings like this, when the lanterns drift, and the sky is the color of faded parchment. And I always find myself smiling, not with teeth, just with the soul. You see, these moments, they're not grand. They're not written down in any book, but they live here, in this place. And when I return each year, I find them waiting. Not as memories, but as presence, as warmth caught in the stones, as whispers tucked into the moss. Even this wind, it's passed through these branches 1,000 times. It knows the shape of my face, the curve of your shoulder. It carries nothing heavy, only breath, only hush. And now, with you beside me, I feel something else, as though this moment is becoming one of those memories. The kind I'll return to, the kind that stays. Not because of what we say, but because of how the silence feels between us. That's the beauty of places like this. They gather what's been softly lived, and they hold it, not tightly but tenderly, as a blanket holds warmth, as a lantern holds light. So when you think back on tonight, if you do, I hope you remember the way the water looked, when the lantern floated free, the way the reeds swayed without rushing, the way my voice softened when I spoke your name, and the way it felt to be known, not for what you do, but simply for being here. You don't need to speak. Not now, not ever. Just breathe with me, and let the quiet stories find you, the ones folded in reed and paper, in breeze and memory. They are here, and now, so are we. Do you see the lake now, dear friend? So still, not asleep. No, not quite. It's more like it's listening. Listening the way one listens to a story told just above a whisper. The surface is calm, but it holds so much beneath. A reflection, yes, but more than that. A memory, a mirror not just for the sky, but for time itself. I've often thought of time that way, not as a line we walk, always moving forward, step by step into the unknown, but more like this lake. A wide, quiet pool, still at the surface, deep beneath. Events don't disappear behind us. Not really. They settle. They sink. But if the water is clear, and still enough, you can see them again. Ripples fade, but what lies beneath remains. I used to be frightened of that idea, that grief could sit beneath the surface, waiting to be stirred. That old mistakes or loves long gone might rise again with the right breeze. But now I think it's a kind of mercy, that nothing truly precious is lost, only quieted. Grief, joy, they move in circles, cycles, seasons, not endings, but turnings. Like the moon above, waxing, waning, returning. Like the lanterns lit, drifting, fading, and then lit again. I've mourned many things, you know. Places that changed beyond recognition. Friends who left this world with no farewell. Times in my life I thought would last forever, only to find they were seasons, not eternities. But none of it was ever truly gone. It just became softer. Grief softens. So does joy. They don't vanish. They settle into the quiet places of the heart, becoming part of the rhythm of your breath. Sometimes, when I light a lantern like we did tonight, I feel it, that ache, just behind the ribs. But it's not painful, not really. It's like hearing an old melody, one you forgot you knew. There's a sweetness in it, a warmth. That's the thing about love, I think. It doesn't vanish when someone leaves. It doesn't vanish even when you change. Love becomes quieter. It no longer calls your name from across the valley. It waits in the shade of an old tree. It lingers in the scent of lavender, crushed underfoot. It hums in the last note of a lullaby. And when you sit still long enough, like now, you can hear it again. You can feel it, the presence of all those you've ever cared for. Not as ghosts, not as shadows, but as softness, as peace. You know, in my younger days, I believed rest was something to be earned, a reward after long labor, a pause after a war. But now I understand rest to be its own kind of offering, not an end, not a surrender, a gift you give yourself, a way of saying, this moment matters too, not because of what I've done or what I will do, but because I am here, breathing, being. I've watched the world rush by, people chasing meaning as though it lives only in great deeds or noble pursuits. But I've found just as much meaning in the steam rising from a tin mug, in the weight of a hand resting on old bark, in the hush of moss beneath a well-worn boot. These things, they are sacred too. And that word, sacred, I used to think it belonged only to temples and relics. But now I believe the sacred can be anything that stills the heart, a flickering flame, a moonlit reed, a friend who sits with you in silence. Yes, you, beside me now. You are part of what makes this night sacred. There's something in the way we share this space, this hush between words. It's more than comfort. It's something close to reverence. Not for what we say, but for what we allow to be. No demands, no expectations, just presence. You stir something in me, you know, not a memory, not a longing, but a quiet awareness of how beautiful it is to be seen, not as a figure of the past or bearer of tales, but simply as I am, an old knight at rest, a soul beside still water. It humbles me. Sometimes I think the heart knows sacredness when it draws near. It stirs, not with alarm but with recognition, like the way your fingers brush against a childhood blanket. And you remember not the days it wrapped you in warmth, but the way it made you feel safe. Hell, this lake, this fire, this moment, they hold me, and now they hold you too. There's no greater peace than this. Not in battle, not in praise, not in victory. Only here, in this slow breathing, this shared stillness. I used to chase meaning, my friend. Now, I let it find me. And it always does. In lanterns, in laughter, in quiet feet on pine needles. In your presence, right now. So rest your head if you haven't already. Let your eyelids grow heavy. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to solve. Only this: you are here, you are loved, and this stillness is not empty. It is full, full of breath, full of memory, full of meaning. Time will pass as it always does, but this moment will remain, not in the keeping of hours, but in the keeping of the heart. Let's stay a while longer, you and I. Let the moon move above us. Let the coals settle low. Let the lanterns fade into stars. And let peace, real quiet peace, find its place in you, as it has in me. There now, do you see it? Just there, fading into the far edge of the lake. That little flame we lit together, gone from sight, yes, but never truly gone. It's joined the others now, a glimmer in the trail of memory that never quite disappears, even when the night swallows the last flicker. It always goes that way, softly, without fanfare. One moment it's a light in your hand, the next it's a light in the world. My breath has grown slower, I think, not from weariness, not in the way a traveler tires after a climb, but from peace, from having said enough, from knowing this night has been full and gentle and whole. I don't speak as much now, you may have noticed. I like the quiet between thoughts. It has a shape of its own. The silence, it folds around us like a well-worn cloak, doesn't it? One that remembers the curve of your shoulders. One that doesn't need to be fastened to stay. My hand rests near yours. See, not touching. No need. Just present. Steady. The way old friends sit beside one another when the words have all been shared. And the warmth remains. That's what you are to me now. A friend, not of the moment, but of the spirit. You've listened. You've stayed. That means more than I can say. The fire's grown low. Just coals now, nestled into one another like sleeping birds. They glow with a softer light, amber deep, slow burning, not heat for cooking or for bustle, but the kind of heat that reminds the bones they're not alone. Moss beneath us is still warm from where the sun touched it earlier. Even now, long after dusk has settled, it holds the memory of light. Isn't that something? How even the smallest bit of earth can remember being warm, just as we remember being loved, held, understood. The stone behind my back. Yes, it presses into me a little now, but not unkindly. It reminds me I have shape, that I am here still, rooted, grounded, a part of this forest, even if only for the night. I can feel the world breathing with me. Have you noticed it? The way the trees rise and fall with the wind, like a sleeping giant. The way the water hushes against the shore in rhythm with our breath. Inhale, exhale, as though the lake has always known how to mirror our stillness. Even the stars seem quieter now. Not so much shining as what, not so much bright as aware, as though they too are settling into their place above, content to be simply seen, simply part of it all. It's strange how complete the world feels at rest. Not when it is done, but when it simply allows itself to be. You and I, we've come to that place, haven't we? Not a conclusion, but a kind of stillness. Not a story's end, but its breath between chapters. The kind of moment that doesn't need music to feel like a song. If I could give you one thing, just one, it would be this. The knowing that rest is not an absence, but a presence all its own. A quiet fullness, a deep and wordless yes. So many forget. They believe value is in movement, in doing, in saying. But I've found the deepest truths live in the hush, in the settling of dust, in the moment after the flame is lit, and just before it flickers. You're here now, with me, with the moss, with the stone, with the fire, with the lake. And that is enough. You don't need to become anything else. Not for me, not for the stars, not even for yourself. Not tonight. Tonight is not for striving. Tonight is for simply being. I am glad, truly glad, that we've shared this night. There's a comfort in knowing this moment has been real, that I've spoken with you, and you've listened, that you've been still beside me, that your breathing has kept time with mine. You've reminded me of the beauty in being known, not for the armor I once wore, not for the miles I've wandered, not even for the stories I've shared, but for the quiet man I am when the fire is low, and the only sound left is the heart, slowly, softly saying, I'm still here, and so I am, and so are you. Let's not rise, just yet. Let's not speak if we don't have to. Let's listen to the night settle. Let the fire fade to coals. Let the moss cradle us. Let the lake mirror us. There is nothing more to be done. Only this breath, only this moment, only this shared stillness, stretching wide enough to hold all that we are and all that we've been. The lantern is gone from view now, but its glow lingers, not in the sky, but somewhere deeper, in that quiet, glowing part of the soul that always remembers what mattered. And you, dear friend, you are now part of that light. The lantern is long gone now, isn't it? Vanished into the dark like a candle carried into dream. But I think the lake remembers. I believe it does. It remembers the hands that shaped the reed, the breath that lit the flame, the stillness we offered as it drifted away. Places like this, they hold such moments quietly, not in stone, but in water and sky. And the hush that follows. The stars feel closer tonight, not just above us, but around us, as though they've stooped just low enough to listen, to nestle among the branches, to keep company with the moss, to join us in this hush. And now, the air grows softer still. Even the crickets have slowed their song. Their rhythm has fallen into something almost like sleep. And I feel it too. You know, that slow untying, that sweet surrender of the muscles, the breath, the mind, before the quiet wraps us completely. I want to leave you with just one thought, a small one, like a pebble dropped in still water, meant only to ripple once, and vanish. It is this, every breath we've shared tonight, every moment of silence, every glance toward the fire, every word between us, spoken or unspoken, was a kind of vow, not a promise sealed in gold or glory, but in something gentler, presence, warmth, rest. You've given me your time, your listening, your nearness, and I've given you mine. That, to me, is sacred. Perhaps the lake will remember us as two quiet shapes beneath the stars. Perhaps the fire will recall our voices in the way its embers sigh. Perhaps the wind will carry a little of this night forward, as a whisper in someone else's dream. Or perhaps we will be forgotten by the world, but remembered by each other. And that, too, is enough. I won't keep you now. You've grown so still. I can hear the rhythm of your breath soften. You're drifting, and you're safe. Sleep well, my dear friend. Let the hush carry you. Let the moss cradle you. Let the stars keep watch. We'll speak again when the lanterns rise. And until then, rest.